Good evening, guys. Scattered up in the classroom. We were with good chapters. Constitution. Constitution design, correct? Where did I left the heading? Constitutional design, what was the last thing that we touched upon? And that I've asked them to cancel. Ask them to cancel. Why the entire class is like this, all this array, either this side or that side. Where you want me to put this side will be better. I can concentrate. Please. Why so last bench today? What happened? Not well. You can occupy here. That will be easy. So that my concentration. Benches are vacant. Boys can come here. Instead, what they put the test. People are Saraswati asked me. That's take it. Take it. Now we were, if I'm not so wrong, we were with democratic constitution in South Africa done. Did we do? Just introduce the topic. I might have given what is constitution. Absent. Why, man? Very sad. You put the bag on the back. Wait, you come. So let us put the heading in democratic constitution in South Africa. In South Africa. So we are going to compare what kind of, what we can say, democracy that we had it in what? South Africa. First of all, do you accept that South Africa has democracy? Do they have democracy? Yes or no? Yes or no? No, I don't. Is India having democracy? Yes. Confirm. How do you say? Periodic elections. We have universal adult franchise. And what else? Constitutional rights, fundamental duties. Correct? And people are the most important. And we have a parliamentary form of government. Whatever I'm uttering, is it okay for you guys? You also joined here because just for one more. So let us compare the South African, what do you call it, constitution. Windows. Then let us ask the absentee fellow to read. He is reading from South Africa. Why? Take my, don't mark anything. Okay, this is office. He is reading democratic in South Africa. Carry on.
Introduction. The set of basic rules according to which the government of the country and its body and the constitution. It deals with the relation of the center with the states, between one state and the other, between the different organs of the government, like legislative, executive, and judiciary,
okay,
and between the government and its citizens and their rights and well-being. Democratic constitution in South Africa. Okay. The drawing up of a common constitution for South Africa after its independence in 1994 is regarded as the marvel in the annals of world history.
Yeah, father.
Annals.
Annals of world history, pages of the world history. Go ahead.
Mainly because two divergent types of people, the whites and blacks.
Normally, South Africa gives us a picture of a problem which was called as apartheid. What does apartheid means? Discrimination on the basis of the skin color. Who was the first non-white president? Nelson Mandela. Correct? No idea at all. At least you know where is South Africa. It's a separate continent. Like we have Asia, India, the most important country. We have Africa. There are groups of several countries. Correct? So let us read South Africa.
Whites and blacks completely forgot their past hostile memories, showed a great deal of maturity and agreed on certain common things. The spirit of forgetfulness and compromises received a worldwide mistake. Put
this into bracket. Forgetfulness and compromises. Normally, when we study the freedom struggle of India and South Africa, there is a big glaring difference. What is the difference? You can tell me. After the independence of India, we pushed the British out of the country. We don't want British. Whereas in Africa, even today, the whites rule. What does it mean? The handful of whites were segregating the which people? Black people, saying that you are inferior to us. But after years of struggle, when South Africa got independent, but then also, what happened? The whites are still there. In fact, they have compromised. Now the whites are peacefully, happily living with whom? The non-whites, or the blacks we call. So they have not pushed any whites out of the country like what India has done. So that is what that word compromise means. So they had allowed the whites to continue to stay. If the whites want to move out, they can. If not, they can remain in Africa. Okay, Chile.
Let us study the freedom struggle of the black against the white oppressive regime and the drawing up of a common contradiction for their country.
Okay. Go ahead.
South Africa was the last state of Africa to get freedom in 1994. For a very long time, the minority government of the white committed many atrocities on the black people. Policy of apartheid or racial segregation, and kept the black people under its thumb.
Underline under its thumb, don't sketch it. Means they were subdued, they were segregated. What is segregated? Separated. They were made to under the rule of whom? Under the rule of the whites. Who was in majority? Whites or blacks? Blacks. Who were ruling them? What was the problem called as? Apartheid. Apartheid. Okay, let's proceed.
Apartheid was a system of racial discrimination imposed by the.
Put all this into bracket. Now this you have to write it in your notebook. Put the heading in your notebook and write, copy down exactly. Apartheid. So the problem was of apartheid. Carry on. The attendance sheet has gone down. Pick it up, pick it up. Everyone have signed? Anyone left unsigning? Carry on. You can sign for both the lectures. Because since I am the person continuing, why then again you can come. Everyone right? Apartheid, segregation of the people on the basis of the skin color. Next.
The system of apartheid divided the people and favored them on the basis of their skin color. The native people were termed as blacks. The apartheid system was particularly oppressive for the blacks. They were treated as inferior to the white.
Underline the word inferior. Hey, have you heard about these problems, or this is the first time you are listening? It was Mahatma Gandhi from London went into Africa to practice his law. What has happened? He was a person who was a pioneer. He had fought for the rights of which people? The black. So it was Mahatma Gandhi who was very much active in Africa, and from Africa he returned to India in the year 1915-16. Are you understanding? So even today, if you go there, they have a great respect for Gandhi. Even the first non-white president, what was his name? Nelson Mandela. People refer him as African Gandhi. He was in house arrest for not more than 26 years. So many people call him African Gandhi because he followed the policies of whom? Mahatma Gandhi, to fight against whom? The whites in Africa. Is it okay?
They did not have voting rights, could not work or live in white-dominated areas without permits. Blacks could not form blacks could not form associations or protest against the terrible treatment. Since 1950, the blacks, colored, and Indians fought against the apartheid system. They launched protests, marches, and strikes. The African National Congress (ANC) was the umbrella organization that led.
Underline that ANC. Like we have in India, INC. What does INC stands for? In Africa, ANC. Look how similar it is. Correct.
This included many workers' union and the Communist Party. Many sensitive whites also joined the ANC to oppose apartheid and played a leading role in this struggle. Several countries denounced apartheid as unjust and racist.
Underline the word unjust and racist. I hope you understand the meaning of the word racist. Yes. Today, do we have it in some countries? Legally or illegally, racism has been banned. But some people do it in nook and corner. But then, if it is reported to the law, it is a punishable offense. I can't make any other person who is not like my skin color that he is inferior to me, at least in India. Correct?
But the white racist government continued to rule by detaining, torturing, and killing thousands of black and colored people.
Okay.
Dr. Nelson Mandela was sentenced to life imprisonment.
Underline Nelson Mandela. How many years?
For opposing apartheid, he was imprisoned for 28 years.
Okay.
As protests and struggles against apartheid had increased, the government realized that they could no longer keep blacks under their repression. The white regime changed its policies. Discriminatory laws were repealed, ban on political parties, and restrictions on the media were lifted. Ultimately, President FWD agreed to hold election on 27 April 1994.
Okay.
As a result of these elections, Dr. Nelson Mandela won the election and he became the first president of independent South Africa.
Underline first president of independent South Africa. Earlier, we had many presidents, but then he was our first independent president. Was he black or white?
Black.
He was black. Okay, carry on.
Apartheid government came to an end, paving way for the formation of multiracial government.
Underline the word multiracial. What is multi? Now, no more black or no more white. This is the merit. At least the segregation has stopped. Which problem has been cancelled now? The problem of apartheid. Okay, carry on.
Towards the new constitution, how did the white minority and the black majority agree to draw up a common constitution for South Africa? It was not an easy task for the two divergent people of South Africa, the white oppressors and the black oppressed.
Underline the word divergent. What is divergent? Two separate groups. Okay, carry on.
Draw up a common constitution for the country when it became free in 1994. They wanted to safeguard their interests. The black majority was keen to ensure that the democratic principle of a majority was not formed. They wanted substantial social and economic rights. The white minority was keen to protect its privileges and property.
Underline privileges and property. Now, although these white minorities, the Africans could have easily pushed them out. But do you think if they might have pushed them out, is it easy for African people to set up the country once again? So they thought, let them live peacefully with us. Are you understanding what I'm saying? It is like India, they could have easily pushed them out. Tum nikal jao hamara country se, quit India or quit Africa, something. But they thought it is these whites with which the country can develop. So now the whites have come up to an agreement. Agreement for what? That no apartheid, no mistreatment, We will not suppress you. Understand? Suppress you. So now then, they are ruling peacefully. Carry on.
After 2 years of debate and discussions, they came out with one of the finest constitutions that the world has ever had.
Underline that word, finest constitution. Carry on.
But both sides showed maturity and agreed on many compromises.
Underline many compromises. Carry on.
The whites agreed to the principle of majority rule. They also agreed to some basic rights for the poor and the workers. The blacks agreed that majority rule would not be obsolete. They also agreed that the majority would not take away the property of the white minority. A set of basic rules were laid down based on these agreements. These rules laid down how the rulers are to be chosen in future. These rules also determine what the elected governments are empowered to do and what they cannot do. Finally, these rules decided the rights of the citizen. These rules will work only if the majority cannot change the range. They also agreed that these rules will be supreme, that no government will be able to ignore these. This set of basic rules is called constitution.
Underline set of basic rules. I've already given. Is any problem in South Africa? Anybody? Anybody? Let's proceed with the next heading. What is the next heading?
Why do we need a constitution?
And if I want to tell you in a very simple way, why do you need a constitution? Now you say when you enter into your school or you enter into your UT, there are basic set of rules. I'm not saying all the rules only, but there is basic rules. But then if I want to tell you, these rules are good for whom? The politicians. Very good for whom? The people. When you are electing a particular leader and putting him on the chair, at least you are very happy that he has to follow. He has to follow. Can he do anything and everything on his own? No. If he is not working according to the constitution, he or she can be removed. So that is what we always believe, that constitution is the supreme, at least in India. Everybody, whether it is the prime minister, president, council of minister, chief minister, everyone has to abide by Indian constitution. If he or she doesn't, then they have to pay the penalty. Go ahead.
The constitution of a country is a set of written rules that are accepted by all people living together in a country. Constitution is the supreme law that determines the relationship among people living in a territory.
Okay, tell me the page number. Which page number is it?
19.
Bit louder, bit louder. Now, whenever we talk about of the Indian constitution, we believe only one thing. What is that one thing? That at least the common people are happy to elect a leader based on which he is going to respect all the votes which are casted against him. Now you see, for the last 2 days, if you've seen the news, what is happening in Maharashtra, the state government. So there is a big defection going on. You understand what is defection? People from one political party moving to the another. So we always believe only one thing. What is that good one thing? That parliament or the constitution is very important, at least for the current timing. So without constitution, can we be very much 100% sure? Sure for what? That whatever is the governor, the government is there, it will work for whom? The welfare of the common people. Carry on.
Constitution is the supreme law that determines the relationship among people living in a territory or citizens, and also the relationship between people and government. We need a constitution to achieve many things. First, it generates a degree of trust and coordination that is necessary for different kinds of people to live together. Second, it specifies how the government will be constituted, who will have power to take which decision. Third, it lays down limits on the powers of the government and tells what the rights of the citizens are. And fourth, it expresses the aspirations of the people about creating a good society. Making of Indian Constitution.
Okay. When we go ahead with the Indian Constitution, it is very simple to tell you. What is that simple? That the Indian Constitution was framed under the chairmanship of Dr. Rajendra Prasad. He was a permanent president. But the drafting committee chairman was B.R. Ambedkar. B.R. Ambedkar himself was a barrister. He had a deep knowledge about the laws. So it took almost 2.5 years. Although India got independence in which year? 1947. But then the constitution was introduced in the year 1950. So close to almost 2.5 years. August se leke to 26 Jan tak. Okay. It was before only. They wanted the 26 Jan as the historical date because that is the date in which they have taken the Purna Swaraj demand under INC. वो November में खत्म हो गया था. But they wanted to keep it at 26 January, being an historical date. समझा? Yeah. That's the sad part. I don't mind. Good. I'm done. You're welcome.
Difficult circumstances. Like South Africa, India's constitution was also drawn up under very difficult circumstances. The making of the constitution for a youth and diverse country like India was not an easy affair. At that time, the people of India were emerging from the status of subjects to that of citizens. The country was born through a partition on the basis of religious differences. This was a traumatic experience for the people of India and Pakistan. The British had left it to the rulers of the princely states to decide whether they wanted to merge with India or with Pakistan or remain independent. The merger of these princely states was a difficult and uncertain task. Like South Africa, India had also to fight against the imperialistic power for a long time.
Now, underline the word imperialistic power. If I want to tell you what is imperialistic power, it is very simple. In India, the British government started ruling in the year 1757. What is 1757? It is the Battle of Plassey. And they ruled in the up till 1947, close to 200 years. So if I want to explain imperialism, how it goes, domination of a weaker nation by a which nation? Powerful nation. So write down that in your notebook. All the 10th standard they ask you, but now only keep writing all these important definitions are. So write down imperialism. Domination of a weaker nation. Imperialism definition I'm giving. Domination of a weaker nation by a powerful nation. By a powerful nation, mainly for economic exploitation. Domination of a weaker nation by a powerful nation, mainly for economic exploitation. Mainly for economic exploitation. So underline that weaker nation. Bracket में क्या लिखेंगे? India. And stronger nation. Exploitation. Let's proceed.
After a good deal of
mainly for economic exploitation. I didn't get you. Powerful nation was Britain, weaker nation was India. An example.
After a good deal of effort, the demand for drawing a new constitution for India was decided by the British in 1946, a year before the independence of the country in 1947. path to constitution. Despite all these difficulties, there was one big advantage for the makers of the Indian constitution. Unlike South Africa, they did not have to create a consensus about what a democratic India should look like. Much of this consensus had evolved during the freedom struggle.
Okay.
The national movement was not merely a struggle against the foreign rule. It was also a struggle to invade our country and to transform our society and politics.
Okay.
Despite sharp differences of opinion within the freedom struggle about the path India should take after independence, some basic ideas had come to be accepted by almost everyone. In 1928, Motilal Nehru and 8 other Congress leaders drafted a constitution for India.
Underline that. Motilal Nehru and underline 1928. Who was Motilal Nehru? Father of Jawaharlal Nehru, not Jawaharlal Nehru. फिर जो एक ही person का दो नाम कैसे रहेगा? Motilal Nehru was the dad of Jawaharlal Nehru. He was also an INC worker. Okay.
In 1931, the resolution at the Karachi session of the Indian National Congress dwelt on how independent India's constitution should look like.
Okay. Underline that independent constitution. Carry on.
Both these documents were committed to the inclusion of universal adult franchise, right to freedom and equality, and to protecting the rights of minorities in the Constitution of Independent India. Thus, some basic values were accepted by all leaders months before the Constituent Assembly went to deliberate on the Constitution.
Okay, underline to deliberate. ऊपर लिखो discuss. Next.
The familiarity with political institution of colonial rule also helped develop an agreement over the institutional design. Elections were held in 1937 to provincial legislatures and ministers all over British India.
Okay. These
were not fully democratic governments, but the experience gained by Indians in the working of the legislative institution to be very useful.
Underline to be very useful. Are you understanding? We have moved away from South Africa. Now we are getting into which constitution? Indian constitution. Now you have to understand, without constitution, a democracy cannot run in the way what you and me are enjoying. If you move out of India, then you'll understand what kind of freedom that you guys are getting. Within our own home or within our own country, you don't understand. When you move out, what all the tight, points that you have to follow, especially if you have visited any Gulf countries. Gulf countries are not like India. The punishments are that hands and legs also cut off. And gravest punishment, you are stoned to death. After that Friday namaz, if a convict, certain countries like Saudi Arabia, the convict will be tied with a chain and every person will be offered big stones. And they will keep on eating that person as long as he doesn't die. Cutting the fingers off if he is found to be a thief, if it is proved. Can we imagine India mein aisa kabhi suna hai hum log? Nahi. So at least these Gulf countries, at least certain other strict dictatorship, India is by far the best. Why? India gives you every rights and every democratic thing. Since you and me have not fought for the rights, which rights? The freedom, we do not value it. You know what I mean by valuing it? Valuing it ka matlab kya hai? Whatever we get it free, we just enjoy it. But if I work very hard for the same, don't you think you will value it preciously? Because for example, now when we keep saying ki the parents are giving you money, maybe your fulfillment are done by your parents. But then the money that you are receiving it every month, or the money that I am paying to you, is not going to be valued unless and until if you spend 1 hour of lectures or 1 hour of shouting. Then I know how much pain it takes. but keep sending. You guys, without working for the same, you know what is appeal. But then we say freedom is nothing but when we use it in the proper manner. You forget the things which are generally, every family has one or two things, but then you have to work on which things, negative or positive things, the positive things. When you work on the positive things, you achieve your ultimate goal or your ultimate dream. But then you keep on bantering or keep on bothering or keep on fighting over it, then what will happen? Then you are moving away from the original or the important goal that you want to achieve. However good or bad are, but that's not important. Are you doing your duty? Am I completing my essential work? Yes. Then if I'm not doing the duty, then it is the trouble comes. So normally when I say the word fundamental rights in India, every fundamental right has certain fundamental duty. As long as a person goes in any part of the world or he stays any part of the place, but he is continuing to perform his duty. Because you go abroad also, suddenly will you change to a foreigner? You will remain as Indian only, but remaining India, you are working in such a place where you are unable to see your family members or friends, then they are keep supporting you by sending them money every month. So what does this show? The family attributes, the family attractions. But then what a family does give you, keep on, munching your head up. So normally we feel that fundamental rights is not only rights, but it has carry a valuable duty along with it. Is it okay? Let's proceed.
Years of thinking and deliberation on the framework of the Constitution had another benefit. Our leaders gained confidence to learn from other countries, but on our own terms. Many of our leaders were inspired by the ideals of French Revolution, the practice of parliamentary democracy in Britain, and the Bill of Rights in US. The socialist revolution in Russia had inspired many Indians to think of shaping a system based on social and economic equality.
Okay.
Yet they were not simply imitating what others had done. At each step, they were questioning whether these things suited our country. All these factors contributed to the making of our constitution.
Okay.
The Constituent Assembly. The drafting of the document called the Constitution was done by an assembly of elected representatives called the Constituent Assembly. Composition of the Constituent Assembly.
Now put this, let us understand that. Composition of the Constituent Assembly. Carry on.
The Constituent Assembly was constituted in July 1946 under the provisions of Cabinet Mission Plan. This assembly had 389 members in all, mostly elected by the provincial assembly.
You better keep it somewhere. It falls as if it creates a shock.
And some nominated by the rulers of the native states. Its first meeting was held in December 1946.
Underlined 1946. So before the independence, only the cabinet mission. Who was cabinet? The ministers, the members. Okay, and who was the last viceroy? Lord Mountbatten. He was the last viceroy for India. Carry on.
Soon after, the country was divided into India and Pakistan.
Okay.
As a result of the partition of the country, its meeting membership was reduced to 308 in 1947. However, this assembly represented people of all shades and opinions.
Put all this into bracket. People of all shades opinion. Did we curtail ki yahi aa sakta hai ki yahi nahi aayega? Everyone was very much important. Okay. Next.
The Constituent Assembly that wrote the Indian Constitution had 299 members. It included eminent persons like Dr. Rajendra Prasad, P.T. Jawaharlal Nehru.
Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. Oh my boy. What does PT mean? If a foreigner reads PT, I can understand.
Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, Sardar Patel, Maulana Azad, Dr. Ambedkar, K.M. Munshi, Raja Gopal.
That's enough. That's enough. These are the 4 popular leaders. If you underline and keep, that's enough. No need to remember all leaders. Next.
This Constituent Assembly represented the people of all caste and creed. Besides the Hindus and Muslims and the Sikhs, there were Christians, Parsis, etc.
Hmm.
Women members like Sarojini Naidu, Durgabai Deshmukh, and Renuka Rai also played an
Underline any two leaders.
important.
So we can't say that only men fought for the independence of the country. Even women equally participate. Next.
In short, the Constituent Assembly was the mirror of the nation.
Underline that word mirror. Now, how do I explain this word? You understand what is mirror of the nation?
Yeah.
What do you see in the mirror? Yourself. Is it mirror giving a false image? Real image. But then in physics, if you do that ray diagram, they'll say it is a virtual image. Because real ka matlab kya, it can be captured on a screen. The mirror mein jo image dikhta hai, I can't capture. But then I'll tell you only one thing. When you read the Constitution of India, you understand this is what India is. Correct? Secular. Secular means all the Hindus are maximum in our country. Is Hindus getting any special preference? No. In fact, other way around. The minority hai, unko zyada preference deta government. So we always believe the languages are so many. Government also says Hindi and English, but it is not a force. Every state follows its own language. Like in Maharashtra, majority documents are in Marathi. Correct. So every state has been divided on the basis of the language. There are so many religions, so many gods. But is the government of India promoting any one religion? No. Although you are born in a Hindu family, can you not go in a other embrace a new religion? Yes. But it should not be by force. If anybody is forcing you and it comes to your parent and parent is reporting that incident, then it is a punishable offense. Is it okay?
Framing the Constitution. The Constituent Assembly worked under Dr. Rajendra Prasad as its president. On 29th August 1947, the Constituent Assembly appointed a drafting committee under the chairmanship of Dr. Ambedkar, one of the prominent intellectuals of the country. After a period of about 6 months, this committee prepared a draft Constitution of India by February 1948. The Indian people were provided enough time to study and express their views on the draft Constitution. The Constituent Assembly met in November 1948 to consider the provisions of the drafting committee clause by clause. This work of second reading of the different clauses was completed by 17 October 1949. Then began the third reading to give a final shape to the Constitution, which was adopted on November 26, 1949. It then received the signature of the President and was declared as passed. Thus, it took about 2 years, 11 months, and 18 days to prepare the Constitution of the India, but actually the Constituent Assembly only met for 114 days.
Underline, only 143 days initially.
114.
114. Why this assembly was a temporary one? Because we do not have a constitution. But then the Britishers say, हमको अभी suddenly क्या करना है? Assembly चलाना है. Can we say the British, नहीं और 2 साल रुक जाओ, हमारा constitution बन रहा है. तो British हमारे पर हंसेगा. Quit India बोल के हमको धक्का मार रहा था. अभी बोल रहा है कि extra 2 साल रुक जाओ. So although we got the independence on 15th August 1947, but the new constitution came in 1950. So in between, which government was ruling? An interim government was ruling. What was interim? A government which was temporary. And under the leadership of whom? Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. Correct? So फिर constitution आया, फिर elections हुआ. But again, Pandit Nehru only got elected. But then we did not have very quick decisions. Are you understanding?
The Assembly adopted the Constitution on 26 November 1949, but it came into effect on 26 January 1950.
Underline 26 January 1950. उसके पहले पास कब हुआ? 1949, 27, 26 number. Circle that. Now they'll tell you historical importance. उधर बाजू में लिखो historical importance. और नवंबर में खत्म हुआ, फिर जान तक क्यों लिखेगा? साइड में, अच्छा तू मत लिख. Historical importance. You remember what did I say? Historical importance. उस टाइम पर INC था. What was INC? लाहौर सेशन में INC ने यही डेट पर ब्रिटिश गवर्नमेंट से पूर्ण स्वराज डिमांड किया था. What is पूर्ण स्वराज? Complete independence. So they want to keep this January 26 as the date. समझा? अभी भले आपका बर्थडे 29 फेब में आता है, इफ एट ऑल कोई ऐसा है, वन ऑफ माय वेरी बेस्ट बडी, हिज नेम इज मिस्टर आनंद। एक बार हम लोग ऐसे कॉलेज में डिस्कस कर रहे थे, यार कितना अच्छा होगा ना अगर 29 फरवरी में बॉर्न होगा तो 4 साल में एक ही बार पार्टी देना पड़ेगा। बोला और कोई नहीं है, मेरा ही बर्थडे आता है 29, but then he celebrates exactly on 28th only। बोला मैं वेट नहीं कर सकता 4 साल के लिए। I don't understand it. So here although November 26 को हम लोग ने कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन क्लियर कर लिया, बट हमारा जो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन मेकर था उनको लगा कि लेट अस अडॉप्ट द विच डे, 26th January, correct है? So that is the meaning of the word historical importance. Let's proceed.
To mark this day, we celebrate January 26th as Republic Day every year. Why should we accept the constitution made by this assembly more than 50 years ago?
Okay.
The constitution was framed with the consensus of all leaders. Thus, some basic values were accepted by all leaders much before the Constituent Assembly met to deliberate on the constitution.
Underline the word deliberate, discuss. मतलब असेंबली बनने से पहले they were discussing कि हमारा कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन कैसा रहेगा, मेंबर्स कौन रहेंगे, and how will we rule the country.
The constitution does not reflect the views of its members alone. It expresses a broad consensus of its time. The legitimacy of the constitution is unquestionable. This is an unusual achievement for any constitution.
Okay, underline unusual achievement. So in fact, even today, okay, I'll come back after the break. Okay, exactly 5 minutes.
Thank you.